right? Or no, let's pop it. Oh, relax. I was supposed to begin at 6, but I figured I would just open the stream a bit early on, and that's it. So we'll still begin with the code at 6, but I figured, people would have questions, so. And this time I have a huge gulp of water with me. So I don't have to run like last time to get water. I probably will do that, Brian. I probably will. But I'm not sure will I actually do it as a course or I'll just post it on YouTube. The problem with such a course would be that anybody really attending the course would need a shitload of knowledge before they would even begin it. So not a very large audience pool. Because it doesn't. I know it sounds very interesting when you put it like that in a title, but we're gonna do some RAM reads today, and we did some RAM reads the last time around. Trust me, when you see a memory dump, it's a dump. Yeah, it's just just bits and bits and bits and bits, quite literally, and trying to make heads or tails out of what you get from a memory dump is an art. Why would you need to look for a hidden timer? You just map the memory out and you map all the known processes, and if you still have occupied RAM space as opposed to what you know should be occupied, well, let me put it in another way. If there's more RAM occupied than you know for certain it should, then you know that there's a problem and you know exactly where the problem is. Capture the cookie. Well, Neil, I can't remember exactly what I did, but if you want to pass a cookie, if you're passing a cookie, you have a cookie which is an authentication token. So that authentication token can actually authenticate you against the service. If you have some other means or you do not require authentication, then you don't really require that cookie. One more scenario would be that you need a cookie tag, like that you've accepted the terms of service prior to actually doing something on the site. So sometimes it's going to work without cookies, sometimes it won't. How would you do this exactly, Brian? Well, okay, so let me put it out like this. Let me give you a better overview. Okay, so Brian, there's a delay in the stream, as there always is. Oh God, come on. And Yeah, it should be fine. Anyway, you can see that I have a list of processes here, Brian, right? So there are a lot of them. So some of them are system processes and some of them are my own. And you can see how much memory exactly are they occupying. And then you can go one process at a time and actually verify that this is indeed that process by looking at the file from where it was started. So you can have a detailed memory information here, and it's going to tell you a lot of things, but my theme is not right at the moment, so you can't actually see what's written in there. But I'll show you how to do the RAM reads now anyway. However, you can basically see each and every program here, and if there is more space occupied, then there are verified programs running here that you yourself have verified. Well, then, there's a problem somewhere. That's one way of going about things, but it's not the bulletproof way, but it's the most intuitive way, I guess. By just going over the processes, verifying their starting files, and verifying that those indeed are those processes that are listed here, and that making sure that you actually recognize what they are, and checking out how much memory space are they using, and then looking at the total memory dump to see whether it actually corresponds or it does not correspond. Okay, what else? We're going to do the RAM reads from Java, and we're going to do some formatting of the data that we've pulled out of RAM so that we actually get some meaningful data like strings from a game or something like that. That's the stream's topic. The process, what do you mean if a process is encrypted? How can a process be the process? I mean, if you can't actually hide it from the OS. If you do manage to hide it from the OS, which would be extremely difficult, then you would immediately know through the memory dump that there is more space occupied than it's being shown here. You wouldn't even need to verify the processes in that case. You could just look at the sum total of RAM used there and the sum total of the memory dump, and you would immediately know that there is a massive discrepancy there. And if you could elaborate further on an encrypted process, what would that be exactly? How to check if a site is vulnerable with SQL injection? Well, you can brute force it. That's one of the methods you can use. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the same question. How would you have an encrypted process? What is it? Yeah, I guess I will. Okay, so I've taken a look, Brian, at the link that you've sent me, and if somebody has that much firepower on their end, there is very little that you yourself will be able to do about it in the first place. So, unless you have a ridiculous amount of knowledge, then you would be able to do something about it. But from an individual standpoint, if somebody has 10,000 programmers on their end and you're like going up against them, chances are that you won't actually find what it is that you're looking for. It doesn't matter if it's encrypted in RAM or not. Encrypted or not, it still has to occupy space no matter what. So just by looking at the sizes, at the size of the dump, and at the size reported, at the size that the system has reported to be in use, you can immediately see what you can immediately detect a problem there. As I said, you can how to check if a website is vulnerable to an SQL injection. You can just verify that. We can just use the brute force method, or you can manually test out certain points on the site, etc. No, you would need a like the exact point in time where you get the memory dump. You would you take a snapshot of the whole RAM in a sense that you've dumped it somewhere and that you've saved it. It's like a snapshot, and then you can and then you take a look at at that particular moment in time, what was the reported usage on the operating system of the given RAM, and you take a look at the size of the snapshot and what's in the snapshot, and you should be able to notice discrepancies if there are any. How to mine a Bitcoin? What is there to teach about it? You buy. There really isn't that much to teach in that regard. So, well, maybe there is. Maybe there is. Maybe there is. Basically, need a wallet. You need a calculation to see what is your return of investment point in time, and you need to calculate your power cost. But it's not really that technical. I mean, you just need to buy equipment and start mining, and that's really it. You just Neil, you just buy equipment and start mining with it. That's literally it. You turn it on and you type in the address of your wallet, and that's it. How do you kill the rogue process in memory? Well, you reboot the machine, and if it boots at start, you reinstall the machine, and you reinstall the OS on the machine, and that's it. You just save the top layer where you basically save your data, but the bottom layer, the kernel, you just reinstall it and it's purged. Yes, it is. Bitcoin mining at this point in time, it's kind of difficult, and because there are such large farms, mining farms, and I personally don't. Bitcoin was good to start with, but time to move to other currencies, honestly, because Bitcoin is static. It progresses at a certain rate. It's limited. It has a certain algorithm, and that's it. Like, you have other currencies which use far more advanced algorithms, which are ever changing, ever evolving, and they're much better in my opinion, and they will surpass Bitcoin at some point in time. I mean, would like if somebody at the NSA wants to spy on you, believe me, they will. Because as I said, you have like 10,000 engineers, and the fact that you're not downloading something from somewhere means nothing to them. Other blockchain currencies? No, you have other blockchain currencies which are running strong and are increasing in volume and value. Like a lot of them. Well, some of them are actually valid ones, and the other ones are just popped out of nowhere, I guess. Well, you can use the SQL map. think that one should do the trick. I myself never really focused that much on web or servers or anything like that. My main idea was to mess around with the hardware and the software that's right there, because if you can, for example, let's say theoretically corrupt an image of Windows and post it on torrents, you can infect God knows how many machines out there. You don't need Kali or Parrot or anything like that to use the SQL map. You can just install it on pretty much any Linux distribution out there. So whatever Linux you're using, you can install SQL map on it, no problems. So what's a valid blockchain currency? I don't know. It depends how long the currency was out there and how long does it plan to stick around and how did the value fluctuate over time. So you have several of them which have been around for a while, and you have other ones which kind of popped out of nowhere and then disappeared in the same way. Well, people make money for what you can regard as hacking in various ways. Um, they create they create hacks for games. Uh, they provide the denial of service attacks, and they also offer legitimate penetration testing services as well. So people make money in various ways, some legal and some not. I no longer really respond over Udemy because there are way too many questions asked. That's why I hold the live sessions to provide the people with the opportunity to come and pose their questions live and get the answers straight away. Okay, I'm getting. Oh wow, okay. You're getting good grades. in regard to your English based on my vocabulary. May I ask where are you from? So, how's your business doing? My business is doing fine, really. Not much to say there. It's working. I have a few offers that I need to consider, and that's gonna be a lot of reading. Unable to monitor Wi-Fi. Okay, so first of all, you cannot contact me from over via Udemy anymore. I don't really reply to the messages there anymore. That's why I hold the live sessions, and I don't know. I do not know why you cannot monitor the Wi-Fi. Is your Wi-Fi card compatible with Aircrack? Does it function with it? Does it have monitor mode? Is the model number supported on the Aircrack website, etc.? Those are all the things that you need to assess. And usually, if the model number is not listed there, then it doesn't actually work. How is CE certified from EC Council? I don't know. I'm not a fan of CE. Okay, so Nikhil Garg, I don't actually respond on Udemy anymore. As I said, there are way too many messages there. That's why I have the live sessions. What time is now on my clock? It's 17:40. So in about 35 minutes, yeah. Because the stream is supposed to start at 6, but I don't know. I decided to start a little bit early there are always some people who actually need questions, and I decided to give more time. You can send me a mail, Nick Hill, but I don't solve problems via mail. That's why I have a live session, and only here and here can you get replies in regard to any problems that you might be having. Just gonna stop the stream for a sec. Okay, back. I wanted to just change some settings in regard to the stream health. Just got a suggestion from YouTube to change it from a certain bitrate to lower it. Okay, let's go back. What are the required math skills? Well, what sort of programming do you plan on doing? That's the magic question there, really. You don't need a lot of math unless you're, well, it really depends on what you're doing. Just tell me what is it exactly that you want to create, and I will tell you whether you require a lot of math or not, and what sort of math do you require. I'll see, Brian. I have it in the making. If you can send me an email, Brian, with any sort of request that you might have in regard to forensics, I'll be more than happy to see what I can incorporate from there. This is my email. I ran a command. Okay, so Nikhil, the first thing that you need to do is go and see if you can have monitor mode at all. Does your card support monitor mode? If it does support monitor mode, go onto the aircrack-ng website and see if the model number is listed there amongst the hardware in the hardware compatibility list. If either of those two conditions is not met, you cannot use that wireless card. You need to install the Sakor. You need to install the drivers for your Wi-Fi card. So just basically type in the model of your Wi-Fi card into your favorite search engine, and then type in drivers for Linux Fedora. Operation not supported. Well, there you go. It says that the operation is not supported. You cannot do it with that wireless card. It does not support monitor mode. Am I strong in cryptography? In what way? Do you mean with the cryptographic algorithms or what? You can do a CM course. Seeing a few in action. I want to be able to set a network and use CM to see what was happening. I do not live in Turkey. I do not live in Turkey. I'm not sure if I can, Paul, I'm not sure if I can oblige you with CM, but with the, you can analyze what's happening with the VMs in a lot of different ways. Like, you just need the command line, really. Also, guys, you can send your suggestions for the preferred courses to gmail.com. If I pick it. Okay. Okay, so forensics would be great. Problem solving and competitive programming. I do not understand what would be competitive programming and what sort of problem solving. So you have, like, if you just say problem solving, that encompasses 100% of all programming on the planet. What books do you recommend for learning C++, Java, etc.? I don't really recommend books at all. Nikhil, your Wi-Fi card does not support the monitor mode. You cannot use it to monitor the network. Like, hardware-wise, driver-wise, it's incapable of doing it. Yeah, I could go with the buffer overflow. Actually, I'll let me just open up another Kwrite. I'm just gonna write down all the things that you have told me. So buffer, you got buffer overflow, you got semi. Sorry, not semi, CM. Forensic RAM analysis. It's the cache cookie. Oh, brute forcing the cache. That's the cookies. Oh, yeah, that's not a good thing. What's the topic today? Well, we're reading from RAM. So we're just going to go ahead and continue getting the data from the game. We're going to get the data from the game. That's basically it. And we're going to translate the data from RAM into something readable to us. in use, ensuring different things when in use. Okay, so Alien Volt as well. You can post the suggestions here, but I would really appreciate it if you just send me an email describing what it is that you would like me to teach. If I decide to do that in particular, as I said, you get free access. Can Java be as good of a tool in security, etc. C++? You can really use any programming language. You don't need to use Java or C++. It's just up to your personal preference in most cases, and sometimes you have certain certain tasks which can only be performed in C++, but that doesn't really matter because you can call C++ from Java and you can call C from Python. So it's really up to you. Nikhil, I really cannot remember the model names on the top of my head, but if you just go to the aircrack-ng website, you will find like an entire hardware compatibility list and the model numbers of all the Wi-Fi cards. I really don't know. Abdullah, I really don't know. Like, if you ask me, for example, if you wanted to make a game, I could tell you what sort of math is generally required there, or if you wanted to deal with the encryption algorithms and stuff like that. But I have no idea what they are doing for their competitions because I've never actually taken part in them. Do I use Python? No, not really. Actually, that is a pretty good recommendation for a book. It's just that I don't actually like learning anything in regard to programming from books. It's very slow, cumbersome. I really cannot justify it in any way, manner. Because you can have all that data on the net and it's far more accessible. But it is a good book, I can tell you that. I know, but how do you approach buffer overflow in a modern way, and how can you change the value from RAM without getting the stack check fail? Well, you can definitely change the RAM values, no problems. You have built into the system methods to do this, so you can read and write from the RAM, so long as you have sufficient privileges. And getting around the stack check, well, that's a whole different subject. But you can get around the modern anti-cheat engines for sure. Oh, you're referring to the browser. If you get an overflow in the browser, and in the sense that you get to point somewhere else outside of the browser, well, that would be like a 0-day vulnerability. You would basically be king of the hill. For Kali on the metal. I don't know, Brian, you don't need Kali. You can use any Linux, really. I don't use Kali myself. There are literally the only thing that's different about Kali is that you have things that are pre-installed there, so it saves you the trouble of installing some other things. But for me, Kali is not very useful for everyday use at all. But basically, any laptop that has an Intel Wi-Fi card, Intel GPU card, Intel GPU, and that's about it, really. The other things that you would need to pay attention to is the trackpad. Does it support the driver? Does it have the drivers for that particular trackpad? And that's really it. I've never heard of any other problems, really. Hey, mate, do you feel like going out for a cup of coffee? Oh, hey, Yasmina. Yeah, sure, why not? We can go out for a cup of coffee. But just give me a call, for fuck's sake. Why are you asking me during the stream? You can, like, literally call me at any time. Yeah. Java is good or C++? I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, Taki, that would be very difficult for me. If the course is not in English, it would be difficult, very difficult for me. Not because I can't speak the language, I of course can speak the language, but I don't know. I have never used any of these terms in Serbian or Bosnian or anything like that. Well, Brian, I would just begin with YouTube serials, and then move on to. Just give me a sec. I'll explain. Let me just post a quick reply. Oh God. Oh, the sneeze was like very painful. Oh man, yeah. Okay. So Brian, just basically begin with YouTube and then progress from there. You will get a ton of links from YouTube videos, and then move on to Stack Overflow. And try not to just mimic the code. Try to alter it as much as you can. That's basically the way to go, in my opinion. Just start out from YouTube, and people who hold courses on YouTube, they're gonna basically point you in all sorts of directions where you have so much material. Yeah, you can use pretty much any Linux for this purpose. About WTS, the programming language is important to to the to to the be the hack, which is the first and second, so on. I do not understand the question, Blacko hack. Please rephrase it. Okay. I'm looking for new update lectures in your hacking course. Pretty much all the updates that were made were posted, so I didn't make any new ones. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Well, no, this is my email. Lots of juicy stuff there. Mostly a lot of spam. God. Where is it? Escape tables, buffer overflow. Okay. So. Just give me a sec. Gmail. Sorry. Just gotta send an email. Well, not an email, like a reply. And my browser slows down to terrible speeds when I'm doing the stream. I'll need to do something about that one of these days. Okay, so next question. I'm looking for... Okay, how can I install multiple operating systems in MSI? I saw the old video and I forget. I'm guessing you're referring to the MSI manufacturer. It makes no difference. Like, you can just install as many OSs as you want. As long as you install Windows first. Okay, bless you. May God bless you. Oh, thank you. I actually just... It took me like 2-3 minutes that you were stating bless you because I sneezed. That was like, why are they saying God bless you? But thank you. Sure thing, Brian. Latest Black Hat lectures in December, I noticed that they had Docker as something to hack. And Docker to those courses, I think it will be a big thing in the next few years. Docker is an amazing tool for hosting, as it does reduce the cost of hosting. But there's a lot of library sharings there, and the hacks in regard to Docker, probably the buffer overflow is the most lethal one there. If you can break out of that container, the system is yours. Really makes no difference whether you use VMware or VirtualBox or KVM or whatever. How can I install Kali XP and Mac on the same laptop? Between it quickly. Hack. I mean, you definitely can install Kali and XP. Mac. I guess you could do. Nah. He would need to have certified hardware in that laptop, so that would be next to impossible. But what you could do is have a Fedora just install the latest Fedora, and then install the virtualization group with it, and then create a KVM, and then have XP and Mac installed in 2 virtual machines. And in the third one, you can install Kali. You will suffer about 5% native performance degradation, but that's about it. So no need to actually go with the triple boot there, unless that 5% really matters that much. Sumit, I really don't think you want me as your role model. But OS X in general, it's going to be difficult to install in a virtualized and a non-virtualized environment as long as it's not on the Mac platform. So that's going to be a nightmare to do, in my opinion. I have too many problems in practice. What are you doing? In the tutorials, I'm having a bit of difficulties understanding, but I'm guessing you encountered a lot of problems, and yes, basically in the introduction lecture I state you're gonna encounter a lot of problems. Anything to do with any sort of a penetration test or anything to do with hacking of any kind or sort, it's gonna be interwoven with how should I put this? You're gonna have so many problems no matter what approach you take that pretty much your life will come down to solving those problems, and that's about it. That's what my life comes down to. Paul Richard, I have received your email. What do I think of Metasploit? Nothing. I have tried it, I have used it, and I have decided it's really not that useful to me in general. It's like if I need a tool, I'm gonna create the tool myself from scratch, and that's gonna be it. So I don't generally use these automated tools. If I need something, I'm gonna create the code base for it, and then I'm gonna utilize it, and that's something. Even though it's far, like if you compare your tools to the scale of the Metasploit project, they're gonna seem insignificant. But whatever is in the Metasploit, remember, is publicly those vulnerabilities are publicly available, and the manufacturers can see them. So it's not that in most cases it's not that likely that those vulnerabilities will actually work, as they were all patched. So if you create something of your own, the chances of that working out is like tremendous, because hey, nobody has seen it before. You're the first one doing it. No, Paul, you can ask as many questions as you want. It doesn't matter. I have purposefully created this live stream so that people can ask questions. And if you cannot ask the questions, then the stream's purpose is, well, defeated, in all honesty. Well, look, that's just a vulnerability. So somebody figures out, oh, okay, this software has a problem here. But you still need to like develop your own thing, which will actually utilize that vulnerability to some effect. Can you show us a bit on Ring Zero security? Ouch. Function hooking. Oh, hell, good luck with Ring Zero. Really good luck with that. You can go even deeper than Ring Zero. You can use the recently, well, not recently actually. I think like half a year to a year ago, I've read a piece of paper research which where they've actually managed to use parabolic microphones to listen to the changes in the processor, in the CPU, in order to, and they've actually extracted the ARSA keys from the sounds that the CPU produced, which is ridiculous. Who actually came up with that idea? For have nerves of steel and iron will. That would be my suggestion. Yeah, Brian. It goes way deeper than Ring Zero. There's like Ring -1, -2, and -3. I think something like that. Well, a common example would be the UEFI BIOS. So it is a 100 MB file, or approximately 100 megabytes, and nobody knows what it does other than the people who have made it, like, and some other people. But in general, the general public, nobody in the general public actually knows what that piece of code does. It's about 100 megabytes, and Nobody knows what it does. It has its own MAC address, it has its own network stack, and we all pretty much have it. So, yeah. My laptop? I already have a laptop. It's the which one was it? Dell Mobile Precision Workstation 9520, I think it was. Any possible way to reverse engineer UEFI? Brian, if you succeed in doing that, you will be probably very wealthy and a very famous person. Also possibly dead person as well. If you manage to do it. Or possibly you will get a job at Intel. So it's probably one of those options. I don't know. A lot of people are trying to reverse engineer it. But they've had very, very, very limited success. Okay, so look, guys, in regard to the stream time and all that, you can just send me an email. So, look, this is my email. So you can send your suggestions to the preferred course topics and suggestions in general. So whatever you need, aside from troubleshooting, in regard to suggestions, you can just send it to my email and I will take a look at it and I will see if I can accommodate you. Can I send a link? Yeah, sure, I can send a link. I mean, it's written on the screen, but sure, here you go. Were you referring to the link of my email or? Okay, and I've just lost the ability to see the live chat. How wonderful. There we go, it's back. The chat. Link of what? Link of what? I don't understand. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. If you know how I can actually change it, feel free to state it. But I don't think you can send links in general in the chat here. But if you do know how to change it, I'm more than happy to actually change it. So you can actually send links. Yeah, that's up to YouTube. I didn't put any restrictions onto the chat or anything like that. Everybody can tune in and everybody can write pretty much whatever it is that they want to write. Well, just copy. You can't even copy paste it. Yeah, Charles, can you just send it to my email and then I'll post the link here? Hey, Nada, how's it going? Long trip, I take it. in like 7 minutes. So that's, or 2 minutes. I'm not sure what I said. 6:15 or 6:20, honestly. Here, Charles, I'll just open up the email and then I'll repost the link. So at my place at the moment, there's this fucking heat, and it's like plus 30 degrees Celsius outside, or it was during the day. And the whole day I've been sweating like a pig, and that's probably why I'm yawning now during the live stream. I wish to apologize to everybody watching. Yeah, I really don't know how to actually enable links here. I'll look into that. It honestly really, I've 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 honestly never really thought about that in particular, how to send links in the live chat during a live stream. Paul, may I ask where you are at the moment? Or like just which country, not a city or anything. And how much experience in Red Hat Linux would you recommend in order to get a decent job? Well, on Upwork, it's just a matter of how much reputation on Upwork you have, not elsewhere. So if you can just do some, let's call them shitty jobs, and get some good reputation, you should be good to go and get other jobs, better ones. Well, yeah, it works fine. UK Hampshire. How is it hot there? Like, what is the temperature there at the moment? I feel perfectly, let me put it this way. It's plus 30 and I feel perfectly comfortable on minus 15. Holy shit. Plus 40. 26. Yeah, that's still way too hot. Like, maybe 10 degrees, something like that. That's perfect. That's okay, you know. That's okay. That's like 10 degrees is like a t-shirt, maybe jeans, and that's it. Wow, plus 40. Charles, please allow me to express my deepest sympathies. My deepest sympathies for your misery on plus 40 degrees Celsius. Can I DOS using Windows? Yeah, sure. You can DOS using your cell phone. Hey guys, fun fact about the outside temperatures. So, see, at Charles's place in France, it is 40 degrees Celsius. And if it's 40 degrees Celsius outside, and if you have a phone, any sort of a mobile phone, that's a smartphone basically, that runs Android or iOS, that phone is in all likelihood functioning outside of the manufacturer specified restrictions. So it's functioning on non-recommended temperatures. And since it's functioning on non-recommended temperatures, it's going to have significantly more bit errors than it would normally have. So since it will have significantly more bit errors than it would normally have, that basically makes your phone vulnerable to the ridiculous extent. Because somebody can use bit squatting and have a much higher chance of actually catching you and gaining pretty much all of your online passwords. And in bit squatting, there ain't nothing that's going to protect you. Not an SSL certificate, not HSDS, nothing. It's just a matter of your hardware working outside of manufacturer's specified limitations, boundaries, or however you wish to refer to them, and then the bit errors happen where zeros become ones and ones become zeros, and somebody can exploit that on end. And such is the case with pretty much all the other technology that you have, especially RAM. So if you have machines or servers, especially servers, that are functioning outside of these boundaries specified by the manufacturer, you're gonna have a lot of problems on your hands because they're gonna misbehave, they're gonna malfunction, and you're not gonna be able to even tell until it's way too late. Okay, that was a fun fact of the day. Just wanted to put that out there. Yes, Paul. Yes, exactly. You can you can refer, Brian. You can refer to it any way you want. But yes, even normal PCs, and not just normal PCs, like any sort of electronics, anything that runs on electricity, like ranging from your car instruments to a camera to a microphone to a mouse, for crying out loud, and PCs, laptops, and phones. Those are the three most vulnerable categories. Especially when you request domains. So by requesting a domain, I mean you're going over to a certain website, and if you have a bit flip, it's gonna request a completely different domain. And if a malicious attacker has that domain registered onto them, and it leads to their server, you're not going to be able to tell the difference, in all honesty. I mean, if you really, really, really examine things, you might, but who really does that? No, seriously, Charles, this is a real thing. Like, so many accounts have been hacked in this fashion. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's so ridiculous that Facebook has actually bought all the domains which are by 1 bit different from Facebook. So, like, Face, BOOT, is owned by Facebook in all likelihood. Brian, you can't really. It's very difficult to check for it because, like, you use your phone, you type in a certain address in the URL, in the address bar, and you click send or go, and in that moment, you're no longer requesting facebook.com, you're requesting facebook.com. That's it. So there's really nothing to check. There's very little that you can actually check. I mean, you can check, and the satellites that are launched into the orbit, there you have a shitload of checking mechanisms, but nobody's crazy enough to put that into a phone. No, it's not crazy at all. It's actually a very, very, very sophisticated and intelligent hack that's simple beyond belief. You basically just set it all up, and then you wait for the fishes to bite. And people bite. They don't. They're not even aware. They're not even aware of the fact that they're biting, but they're biting. because they're using their devices outside of the manufacturer, outside of the boundary specified by the manufacturer. And then you have errors that happen and they get screwed. Simple as that. Yes, Paul, they have boundaries, but if you're using your phone at plus 40 degrees Celsius, you're basically outside of those boundaries because the phone produces its own heat, and then you put it into the sun, and then you have even more heat, and shit happens. Well, yes, you can fry an egg on them, but that depends on what the boundaries are. So let me put it to you this way: if somebody is using an Intel processor, and that Intel processor is 105 degrees Celsius, it is within the manufacturer boundaries. It is not above the boundaries; it is within those boundaries. So you can boil the water there, but hey, it's still within the boundaries. No, I don't, Brian. I don't think anything is going to protect you against a bit flip. There's very little that can. You need double and double and you need double triple checks, verifications, etc. So okay, look, this is how they did it in the space program to prevent these bit flips. They had three separate CPUs, and three separate CPUs all did the same thing. And if two agreed on one thing, and if one didn't, they knew that there was a bit flip. So nobody's crazy enough to put like three heavily isolated CPUs into a phone to protect it from a bit flip, because the phone price would be like even higher than it is now. I think it's absurd how they price the phones now, but be like way more then. Kanav, I really wouldn't recommend books. Yeah, go to YouTube first, and then from there, utilize additional resources. What happened to my face? I don't know. I was born with it. If you are referring to this is my. Oh, sorry, this side. This is my birthmark. Given to me at birth. I wouldn't really like buy that. Like, there are two phones in the market which I have in my mind, I again repeat, deemed valid for purchase. Those are the phones that are distributed by Google, so the Nexus series and the Pixel series, and the iPhone. So three phones in total on the market that are worth purchasing, in my opinion. And I personally use a Nexus 6. I've had it for forever. Okay, so why, you might ask? So why would you prefer those phones? You have this and that from Samsung, etc., and all the exploding batteries as well. But yeah, the thing is that the Google phone, the Nexus series and the Pixel series and iPhones, they get regular updates. They get patched non-stop on end. And they have some serious people working behind those patches. So those are pretty much the most secure phones out there. So those three models, I guess. If you use a Samsung phone or something like that, well, you're gonna get a security update like every once in a while, maybe. No, I'm not saying they're not nice. I mean, for your everyday use, yes, you can use it, but from the security side of things, I would never use them. Not OnePlus 3, not OnePlus 1, not any sort of a Samsung thing, LG, whatever, unless it's an Nexus series, Pixel series, or an iPhone. Those things get very regular updates, very regular security patches, and you can see that somebody is actually taking care of the software that is on that phone. So I would get those three and I wouldn't go beyond that. Okay, so for Capta, you can use the cascades and machine learning. Look into the OpenCV. So Harish, look into the OpenCV to machine learning and creating cascades, and you should be able to make a program that's gonna be able to recognize all Capta for you. Well, eventually, Charles, they're gonna reverse engineer it, I'm guessing, because there's like so much interest in it. But for the time being, we all have code on our machines from Intel and AMD and Nvidia and well, those three basically, that we have no idea what it actually is or what it actually does. Reverse engineering. Yes, I have thought about it. Okay, let me put it to you guys this way. I've thought about all of these things, like reverse engineering, game hacking, forensics works, but then I think to myself, like, who is going to be the audience? Who's gonna watch it? Who who's gonna have the knowledge necessary to actually even follow through the course? So at this point in time, you think you want it, but if I showed it to you, you would say like, "Fuck this." But okay, I'll see what I can do about it. Seriously, I really will. Oh, Charles, what do you do? What do you do with the games? Tell me. Tell me quickly. I mean, is it just RAM reads and writes, like what's generally being done, or do you do something else? Seems there's a bit of an audio delay. You actually work on the development of the drivers? Okay, so let's get into these things. Okay, so no more questions, at least not for the time being. Now I am mainly going to now I'm going to go ahead and jump into code. So what we are about to do is create a native call from Java to C++, And that C++ code will read something from RAM for us, and then we're going to interpret the data that we've received, and then we're going to translate it to something that's readable to us. So this chess game that I have here that I've been using it as an example, you have a series of moves that have been made here. Now we're going to attempt to extract these moves from RAM and actually translate them in a nice fashion onto the screen and give ourselves the exact addresses where they are actually located. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is pop myself up a root terminal. And I'm going to go ahead and type in DNF group install space exclamation marks development space tools exclamation marks. Again, I've already installed this, but this is needed in order for the other things to actually work out. Okay, so let me just expand my notes so that I can actually see them in a proper way and put the chat onto another screen. Anyhow, now we have done all of these things. We should now go here, and type in the following. Static. Then open up and close these and type in system.load. And we're going to need some sort of a file name here, but we don't actually have that file name, not just yet. So we're just gonna go ahead and make it, but I'm going to give it a path anyway. So it's going to be like home/chronic/work space, and this is going to be a live session bot. So live_session_bot. Function hooking in battle. May I ask you, Charles, like, why are you attempting to go so deep? Is there any particular reason why it needs to be that that level? Yeah, go ahead and ask. If I can help you in any way, I will be happy to do so. Anyway, you type in here src /lib. I don't know, we'll entitle this one RAM read. Okay, so this is your path to your workspace. And then from workspace, this is the name of your project. And then you go into the src, and this you're not going to have, but we're going to write it there anyway, because later on we will have it as we're gonna create it ourselves. Okay, so there are no red lines, no errors, no problems. It works. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and create that native method. So private static native void read RAM. That's an arbitrary name for me. And I'm just going to pass it a byte buffer. For buff, that's going to be the name, and long shall be an address. And int shall be a PID. My nose is giving me terrible problems. Okay, so we've actually done this, and we have made this one here, so that's fine. We just need it there, but why is the byte buffer? Okay, we just need to import it up there. No problem. So we have created our native call. And now we need to do something with this native call. Now we need to actually state, oh, okay, we need to create the header and the C++ file from which the native call will actually be made. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so let me just go into home chronic workspace live session bot src do ll, and there's a package bot. So let me just go ahead and do this. Click here and do a save, Control S, and then come back here. Oh my God, come on, don't do this to me. Just one sec. Okay, there we go. Kind of difficult to find these things on my screen sometimes. Anyway, we're going to type in LL, and there's bot. So we go into bot, and then we do LL again to find, and then we type in Java C main class dot Java. Just press enter. And then we're going to do CD, and we're going to go out of this. So just one directory backwards, and we're just going to type in Java H, and it's going to be like bot and main class dot Java. Oh, what? No. Right. Java H bot dot main class, and there we go. Okay, so now we have bot underscore main class dot H. Okay, so he said it's actually battle using ring 0 verification, so I need to create a driver and load it dynamically gets the offset to the callback list. Object type structure. Good luck with that, Charles. Good luck, seriously. You're gonna have a lot of, well, you're gonna have a lot of difficulties there. And hey, by the way, to help you out a little bit, you don't actually require assembly there. And drivers are perfectly writable in C, so you can use the C programming language to write them as well. In fact, a lot of the drivers are written in C, so that should give you some ease of syntax at least, as opposed to assembly. Okay, so now we've done these things, and the next thing that we need to do is do a compilation. So need to actually compile, and there's this long command. I'm going to go ahead and paste it into the chat, so if somebody's doing this with me. Okay, error, GCC, no input files. Just sorry, my bad. It's CPP, and it's G++. Error, main class dot CPP, no such file or directory. I see. So I am officially an idiot. I'm going back to hell. Well, good luck with that. Try walking through hell. Don't run. Okay, so coming back to me being an idiot. So we first need to type in main class dot CPP and actually create the methods here before we can actually call them at all. So you cannot auto-generate this. This needs to be created with a due process. Wait, just let me. Sorry, C main class.cpp. Oh, come on. It just won't open, and I really don't feel like writing it from scratch at the moment, because it's I've already explained it during the last session, and it's a bit of a longer code. Okay, so not here, and oh, come on, misbehaving. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open read only. Okay, so insert, and this is what we're going to need. This is what our method will look like. Yes, please inform me. Please do inform me. I would love to hear on your progress. So this is what our method will actually look like. So it looks kind of ridiculous. So you have like void JNI call Java RAM read main class read RAM, and then you have a list of certain arguments. These arguments, this argument list needs to match this argument list here. So you need a there's a byte buffer, and there's an ADDR, and there's a PID. So I've just given the same names, but you don't need to give the same names. But the types of the variables must match at all times. So you can't actually go against that part there. And during the last session, I have explained the method that I'm going to use now. So I'll just copy paste the code, because during the last session I already explained it. It doesn't make much sense to actually explain things twice during the 2 live sessions. If you have questions in regard to the code, or if you don't understand something, if you didn't follow up from the last one, feel free to ask, no big deal. I'll be happy to answer in any way or manner that I can. And I'm just going to go ahead and need to do an import, and that's going to be it. Okay, some of them I probably don't need, but I'm kind of too lazy to actually go around and check. So just type in WQ, as in write quit. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen to get out of the mess, and then I'm going to go ahead and call this command again. I'm going to press enter, and it says user lib, openjdk, include JNI, fatal error, JNI MD, no such file or directory. Let's see where the problem lies. Okay, let's just delete this part here and try it like this. Let me just try grab it from history, G++. These two look exactly the same. History grep-i G++. It's not there. It's gone forever. Okay, let's try and fix it. So what does it say? Fatal error, RAM read class .h, no such file or directory. Why is there no such file or directory? Well, because the name has changed, genius, from the last time. I can again confirm that I'm a complete idiot. So it's G++ include mib main class CPP 231. Okay, give me VIM, give me set number. This, of course, does not exist, but I've copy pasted it from before. It's actually bot underscore main class. So let's try it now, and there you go. It works. It works like a charm. So the compilation actually passed. It was just that I was pretty stupid and didn't actually change the import names. Okay, so now that that is done, we just need to go ahead and create some linking. Why it won't copy, I have no idea. Shared, and it's going to be called libhello.so. Let's not call it hello. That's just from my... actually, you know what? I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. It's going to be ram read. And this is going to be lib ram read. And there we go. So I have successfully created the linking. So I'm just going to pull this away. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to run this program. And nothing happens. There are no errors. So that's a good news. That's a good thing. So system.out.println test. Let's go ahead and save it and run it. And there you go. It says it says test here. So it does work. I'm gonna need some water. Okay, so I predict that we're gonna have some problems eventually, but it's okay. There is no reason why we should stop. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna need to do will be to actually call the RAM read. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in RAM. How did I call it? Read RAM. And then I'm going to have some sort of a byte buffer here as before, and ADDR variable and PID variable. Okay. And here I'm going to go ahead and type in byte buffer BB equals byte buffer dot allocate direct. I need that one. And this is going to be buffer length. Okay, so that's going to be the buffer length. Perfect. So now we have a few variables here, which are, so you have no idea what they do. So we have declared the byte buffer, but we also need int buffer length. And aside from that, we need long ADDR. And we also need the PID. So it's going to be int PID. And we're going to need to initialize all of these variables. So the first thing that we'll need to do is type in ps aux grep -i chess. And it's 3021. Okay, so vim proc 3021 maps. Okay, so let me just expand. Oops. Let me just expand this a bit. Okay, so I have the heap here from last time around. So this is the beginning address of the heap. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And this I'm going to put here in the beginning address. I got to type in L at the end and 0x to begin with. The PID is equal to 3021 as we just saw. And the buffer length is equal the end of the heap minus the beginning of the heap. So I need the ending of the heap. Control-Shift-C to copy. And I can just put in 0xL minus whatever value this is. And I suspect that it's going into an int. Let me just go ahead and check something out. If I type in long here, is this going to be a problem? Yes, it's going to be a problem. So I need an int here, and I need to cast this to an int. So let me just do some casting. There we go. So we have casted that to an int. Perfect. So we have the begin ADDR. We have the length, which is the end minus begin. And that we're allocating the size of our buffer, and we're going to pass that to the RAM read. And in the RAM read, you'll be able to, from the RAM read, you'll actually be able to get the data. But how will you get the data? Well, you need we need some sort of a loop to print out the data. So it's going to be bb.has remaining. And it's going to be byte b equals bb dot get. Okay, so why isn't this working? Because it's a for loop, for crying out loud. It needs to be while. And there we go. And now I would just like to get the letters, numbers, and special characters. So I'll just go ahead and specify those ranges. It's going to be b is greater or equal to 32. This is the ASCII table. You can check it out on the net. Just type in ASCII. And this is going to be, and then B is less than 127. Or B is equal to 10, meaning that there is a space or a new line. It's one of those two. It doesn't really matter. And I don't need any more ors. So if it's any of those things, if B is any of those things, go ahead and put it into our string builder. So the string builder we still do not declare. So string builder SB equals new string builder. Perfect. So down below, I'll just type in sb.append. Well, actually, not yet, because I would like to have some space, because I would like to have some new lines as well, and not just new lines, but how many items will be printed per one line. So I'll just type in some sort of a count here, and this is going to be modulus of something. I'll just put in modulus of 1 for the time being, and then we're going to change that. And down below, and we're going to need to also type in int count, and this is going to be 0 here. It's going to be sb.append, and we're going to have a new line character. It's going to be sb.append, and we're going to need an address here. So that particular address is the long ADDR that we have acquired that I have defined previously here. So it's just going to be something like I need to convert it to a string, so it needs to be to string, and it's going to be ADDR plus I, some sort of an iterator. So we're going to need some sort of an iterator for sure. And aside from the count, so we're going to have an int I, is also equal to 0 to begin with. And after that, I just want to have a semicolon. You'll see how this will be reflected in the final outcome. So append, and we'll put a semicolon here and a space here. So we'll put a semicolon here. What am I making? A program that actually can read from the RAM of the game and extract the game relevant data such as held bars, position, etc. And then down below, I'll just type in sb.append char, and this is going to be B, semicolon at the end. Going to save this. So within this if statement, I need to iterate the count, and within the while loop, I need to iterate the I. Okay. And after all is said and done, after the while loop, I can just type in string x is equal to sb to string. And I can either write that to a file or just print it out onto the screen. Let's print it out onto the screen to begin with. So system.out.println x. Okay, so let's try running this, and I have an unsatisfied linked error, which is something I really expected to happen. No, not for a specific game. You can do it for any game, really. It's possible to do it for any game. Okay, so there's one more thing that I did not do, unfortunately. Not the JNI, but the bot. Okay, so now that I've done that, let's try to do this again, and just save it. And no. Let me just exit Eclipse and restart it. Okay, the libram read is definitely here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let me just see if I made a typo here. It says live session. Okay. Let me just go ahead and copy paste it anyway. Okay, that was the door slamming shut due to the wind that's blowing finally. That's good. So let me go ahead and save this and run it one more time. Okay, so what does it say now? I can't load the library. Aha. Okay, missing a slash. Ljava, NIO, byte buffer, JI. Exception in thread main, unsatisfied length here. Bot.main class, dot read ram, Ljava, NIO, buffer v. Okay, so let's see what is going on here. Let me just try to fix it. Won't work on this one. Let me just check something else, please. So if I go into RAM read, src, and if I'm here, read properties, code, Java compiler. Java doc, project reference, task repository validation, build path. That's what I was looking for. No rules defined, external annotations, none. Resource, tracks. I don't know. I get stuck sometimes. I am only a human being. Bot underscore main class dot ssh. Bot include JNI. Include both main class. Java underscore bot underscore main class read RAM. Okay, let me just copy this one and type in this, and I'm gonna need an insert. Am I missing something here? Well, of course I am missing something. Of course there's a problem. I mislabeled the method, so that's always a good thing to do. Can't really expect anything to work if you mislabel them. Okay, so let's go ahead and recompile it. And let's relink it. And let's tell it again where to find it. And there we go, voila. So this is a direct RAM read. It's acquiring information from RAM. It's telling us on which address is everything. So on this address you have this, on this address you have this, on this address you have this, etc. So we got 1 byte of info pretty much from every location in RAM where it was found within the given range. We can even put it into a file if you want a little bit more context. We're reading from RAM, from Java, and we're using JNI from C++ to call the native Java methods from C++. Okay, so now I'm not going to actually print the string out. I'll put it into a file so that we can process it a bit easier. Okay, so what we need is, first of all, try catch block. And catch, and I don't know, just exception E, and we're gonna do this e.print stack trace, and here under the try I'll just type in files dot delete. Why am I deleting a file first? Well, in case I want to rerun the program, I want the old file to be gone first. And I'm gonna name this one ram dump. Okay. And then I'm gonna type in another try catch block. Exception E. And this time I'll type in files.write. And I'm gonna have paths.get ram dump. And this should be in the quote marks, basically. The second argument will be the x.get bytes, so we'll just get the bytes from the string. And here I'm just going to instruct it to create the file if it does not exist. So standard open option dot create. And why is this not recognized? Create. Because these are lowercase letters, that's why. There we go. So let's go ahead and save this and open up a file manager, whichever one you're using, it doesn't matter. And go into your workspace and find your project. So this one is referred to as live bot. Just be here. So let me just move this for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and start this. Okay, problems. Java no file, no such file, exception. Okay, so apparently let me just go ahead and rerun this. There we go. So just rerun it. And now we can open up RAM dump, and voila, we have all the necessary data here. Look, you have it in a file, but still it's a little bit difficult to search. That's why I've implemented this one. So let's change this to 6. So give me 6 lines of information per code, per an address. So just go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and state to reload the file, and voila. Okay, so let me go ahead and expand this and take the chess game. Okay, so the chesscape is there. This is there. And if I click here, I can see that the moves have been played b1, c3, e7, e5. So let me just go ahead and do this. Control F, b1, c3. And here they are. Look. b1, c3, e7, e5, g1, f3, d7, d6, etc. So we have successfully created a memory dump, and we know the exact address of B. And we know how far it goes, so if we were to read from this particular address, we would get B, basically. In fact, here I can actually show it to you. It's not really a big deal. So when all is said and done here, I'm just going to do bb dot flip. And then down below, I will call another RAM read. So just read RAM like this. Oops. Gonna need this. And of course, we're gonna need this entire thing again. I'm just gonna need to copy it down below. Should have placed everything in methods, but hey, didn't really have the time. If I put this down below, I'll just, if it's flipped here, x will again be equal to nothing. So I'll just restate that. And why is it? It says duplicate. Okay. So I'll just reset the values and then I'm going to reinitialize them down below. But this time I'll just do system.out.println, and here it's going to be, here I'm going to put an X. But I am not going to read this address. I am going to read a very different address here. So from RAM dump, I'm going to take this address, copy it, and put it here instead of ADDR. So it doesn't matter if it's not in hex. You don't need to actually write it in hex, but it does need to be a long. Oh, yeah. Yep. Actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and create another buffer. Go down below here, and the buffer length this time will be, let's say, 10. And this will be BB1, and this will be BB1, and this will be BB1, and this will be BB1. Okay, so now let's save it and let's run it. And again, it's printing this out. Why? Let me just check. Hold on a sec. Okay, so RAM, it gets the buffer. The buffer's allocated size is 10. It starts reading from this address, and it keeps on at it. Okay, let me just go ahead and type in. Let me just go ahead and delete this and type in here string x1. And this is going to be x1. And the size of this will be 1. Doesn't seem to be saving this at all. The changes don't seem to be taking effect, like literally at all. Live bot session, bot. Okay, I would like to run this. Still printing them out somewhere. But as you can see, it's printing them out like this. I could probably go through the code now and find it, but I really don't feel like it. It's been a long day and it's really hot outside. Anyway, what I wanted to show you, the moral of the story. Oh, wait. Where's the string builder? Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Yep, I see the problem. So this could be it. String builder sp1 equals new string builder sp1 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 sp1, and there we go. Voila, there's B. And okay, so B is right here. So B is at this address and 1 byte long. So there you have it. B, we've only read 1 byte and we've gotten B out of it from this address. So we went from this address with the offset of 1 byte and we got B. If you, for example, change the size, I don't know, it doesn't need to be 1, it can be 10. Let's say the size is 10. So let's rerun this. And there you go. You're going to get B and then 1, C, 3, E, 7, E5. And there you go. So that's gonna be it. We've successfully managed to extract very specific information from RAM in regard to a game. So this is valid for any game out there. This is not just for the simple chess. You can apply this to CS or WoW or whatever. It's a plain old simple RAM read. Okay, so that would be it. If you have any questions in this regard, feel free to post them. If I didn't actually mention something or stuff like that, feel free to send me an email. Wait. Don't need this one anymore. Let me just find it. Not that one. Not this one. Disregard. Sometimes the system really does like to mess with me, but not much I can do about it. Okay, so if you have any additional questions, gmail.com, you can direct them to this email address. This is my email address. So if you have any additional questions in this regard, you can just mail it here. Or if you have any suggestions in any regard, so to anything, I'll be happy to take them into consideration. And my chat is gone again. Okay, let me just restore the chat somehow. Just trying, because I can't see if you've written anything or not.